All right. So for the last 2 weeks, as you guys have, you've done it, so you know it better than me. We have been practicing writing, right? We have been practicing writing diary entries. We have been practicing writing paragraphs. What we have essentially been doing is we have been training ourselves to do what? We have been training ourselves to write better. Every line, I personally feel, every single sentence that I've written on paper has only been a progress in my level of writing. Even if you write good morning messages, okay, even if you write happy birthday messages, those long ones to your friends, and if you do that in English, that is also improving your English. That's one of the most amazing things about a language, is that it exists to communicate thoughts, right? So if we want to improve a language, what essentially becomes is we translate everything that we do into that language. So even if I want to wish my friend Merry Christmas or Happy Diwali, very prosperous Diwali. We use prosperous so much, right? I get like a zillion messages every Diwali. Prosperous Diwali, full of lights, right? We use all these phrases and they're beautiful phrases. But do we sometimes, feel like maybe I don't know the exact meaning of the word prosperous here, right? So that's how it'll work, right? Every time we write, we will have problems. Every time we write, we might also discover that, oh, I have gotten better at this. The last time I sat down to write, I wasn't this comfortable, right? So it'll get better for sure. You sometimes when you are on a diet, because I've been doing this is my closest heartfelt example. When you're on a diet and then one day you sit down and you eat a lot, okay, so like you were progressing but then you just went down, right, because you ate so much in one day. That doesn't happen that doesn't happen with writing, and that's my favorite thing about writing. When you write, you are only going in a positive direction. There is no negative thing that will come out of writing, okay, but please don't write bad things about people. That can be a little bit negative, but other than that, writing in itself is always going to be a positive activity. Okay, so we have been writing for the last 2 weeks. I am pretty sure you guys faced problems. It's impossible not to. Okay, now what I want you to is we will discuss this. I want those of you who feel like sharing their problems with the class to raise their hands or unmute themselves so that we can bring up their problems. We'll cover a few of those. Then I'll cover most, common problems that people face. And then we will talk about how we will be solving these problems, okay, in the future. All right. So, is anybody willing to share their problems at the onset? Do you feel like talking about the problem that you faced once you sat down to write? Because your problems might be the same for your friends, right? So your effort can help other people. So think about it. I'll give you a second. Whoever feels like they are ready to speak, just raise your hand so that I can, ask you to unmute yourself. All right, Durkeshwari, please go.
Didi, as you say that write the diary, I wrote every day, but I face one problem. I don't know the exact word for that. If I am saying what words, some words that I don't know the English word for that word. I know in Marathi, Hindi, but I don't know in English. So that one problem I every day whenever I write diary. So that one problem I faced.
Okay, so the problem is vocabulary here. Perfect. Anybody else? Do people think that they've had similar problems like Durgeshwari has? Have you felt that? Yes? Good. Anybody else who would like to share their problems? Then we'll solve them one by one. Okay? Yes, Rukmini, you want to
Didi,
speak?
uh, Didi, whenever I writing skills like letter or essay, I don't know from where to we start. Everybody says that write introduction part, then body, then conclusion.
Hmm.
But I don't understand how to introduce the topic, and that's my problem.
Okay, so Rukmini has, if she faces issues when she is doing a formal sort of a setup in her writing, and she has a problem in defining what should an introduction look like, what should a main body look like, what should a conclusion look like. Good. That's one of the most important parts about writing a long answer. We'll talk about that. Yes, Durkeshwari.
Didi, I had one more problem I faced, grammar. When I used am, is, are, if the past is there, so what I used was, where. I don't know that one more thing.
Perfect. We're going to be working on that today and really soon. So that problem is going to, I come to an end pretty soon. We'll work on that problem. Yes, Vaishnavi, you wanted to say something?
Same Durgeshwari had problem.
The
Means
grammatical part of it.
yes.
Perfect. All right. So we have I think we have covered 2 to 3 main problems. We have vocabulary, which is one of the biggest factors towards expressing yourselves, right? I have often heard people say, I have been talking to people for like my entire life. I don't need to know new words to talk. Okay, I know how to talk. And I'm not denying that you do. Of course, we've all been communicating. Durgeshwari speaks English, Vaishnavi speaks English. They also write English and they write pretty well, right? But still, sometimes some words just facilitate as a word. Had I not known the word facilitate, I would have said they help you do it in a better manner. Saying they help you do it in a better manner is not wrong, but saying facilitates expresses my thoughts much better. That is the magic of vocabulary. Vocabulary, as when we did our synonyms and antonyms, we discussed this. Vocabulary is a crucial, it's a very, very basic root part of communicating your thoughts and feelings. Sometimes just knowing that one word while you're speaking, just that one word that you're missing, can change the effect of your entire sentence, and it can express your meaning better. If I tomorrow have to interact with European people or British people, and I can't essentially say that word in Hindi or Marathi, I would know that I still have, trust me, I have words that I would not know how to say in English. And then I would just be like, give me a minute. Let me just Google this and I'll get back to you. Right? So it's impossible to know every word, that's for sure. But it's definitely possible to know a few more, right? It's definitely possible for me to know a few more. It's definitely possible for me to know one word a day, right? Come on. One word a day, and how many would you have in a year? By the time you are, done with your graduation, how many would you have? Like a zillion. I mean, not a zillion, but quite a few, right? Okay. And then we had I like the structuring question, Rukmini. I personally faced a lot of issues. What I used to do is when I used to practice, no, when I'll start writing, I'll take my pen and I'll write introduction. I'll write it as the heading of that paragraph. And then every moment, every sentence I am framing, I'm constantly reminding myself, what is this? It's an introduction, Rakshita. Do not explain the entire thing. No, it's just an introduction. Just talk about the basic definition, the basic requirement. Just talk about what an introduction does is. How do I introduce my class to you guys? How do I start? I tell you, okay, this is something we're gonna do today. And then I start, right? Do I tell you everything we're going to be doing? If I do that, then I would be conducting the class, right? Then that wouldn't be an introduction, right? But introduction, main body, conclusion is our way of communication forever. You meet your mom early in the morning. What do you say? Good morning. You don't start with, oh my God, I have such a bad headache. No, some people do that, but that's not right, right? We have to commute. Okay, can you guys hear me? Because all your videos have frozen. Can you hear me?
Yes, Didi.
You can hear me, right? Okay, thank God, because everybody's video froze, so I thought you. Okay, sorry, I think I was kicked out. All right. Okay, so continuing. with that point, every communication, everything you'll do in life has that basic structure. You just have to see it. If I start talking to, if I call up Ayush tomorrow and I'm like, before saying hi, Ayush, I'm just like, what is this corona, yaar? But I mean, he'd get it because corona is so bad. But I wouldn't ideally start that conversation that way, would I? No, right? I would start that conversation with a hi and I would definitely end it with a bye, right? I'd say bye, Ayush. I wouldn't just cut the call. I don't think I would. It'll be rude to do that, right? So, can you just give me a thumbs up if you still hear me? Because everybody's video is freezing and I feel like you can hear me, but I don't know. Okay, thank you. All right. The network is a little iffy here, but we'll work with it. Okay? All right. So that is the basic format of conversation and communication and everything that we do. But yes, it's difficult to translate that into writing. So what you can do is when you're practicing answers, try this. I've tried it. It really works. Just write bada capitals may write introduction and then only write. If you're reading introduction that hugely written on your piece of paper now, it'll be really difficult to say anything else but the introduction. Okay. All right. Now coming to the main part, we've worked on our vocabulary, and I'm planning one exercise that we're going to be starting this week onwards, and I think that exercise is going to be really good for our vocabulary. Okay, but for the grammar part, that I'll tell you guys towards the end of our session. But for the grammar part, okay, for the grammar part, as all of us and everybody who speaks any language will have a difficulty because grammar is like rules. I told you, right? Rules are difficult to remember. But if you don't remember rules, you'll be committing mistakes, right? In maths, it is so difficult to remember all the formulas, isn't it? But can we solve that question without that formula? Is it possible for me to solve that question without knowing the formula? It's impossible. Trust me, I've tried to do it during examinations and I've forgotten the formula. It's impossible to solve it without that formula. You need to remember the formula to solve it. It's the same thing with grammar. And when we have been doing it often enough and we have been practicing it often enough, it'll sit somewhere. Every single one of us in this call knows the Pythagoras theorem, don't we? You guys know the Pythagoras theorem, right? I'm sorry, I'm working on the basis that everybody knows the Pythagoras theorem. It's the perpendicular square hypotenuse
Yes.
wala theorem, base square theorem. Okay. Bipin, could you please mute yourself? Okay. All right. That was the second time I got kicked out. It's not a very good feeling. Okay. So we were talking about how some of us, most of us, I feel, remember a basic Pythagoras theorem, right? Okay, scrape that. I can't see you guys giving feedbacks. It's really difficult for me to. Okay, we all know how to add things, right? We all know addition, right? If I ask Durgeshwari to do addition, or if I ask Amit to do addition, Amit would definitely add things up. He would not subtract things, right? Amit would not be like, yeah, 2 plus 2 is 0, Didi. No, he'd know it's 4, right? Because it has gotten instilled in him. He knows that that is how he's supposed to do it, right? Can you guys still hear me? I'm sorry. Can you still hear me?
Yes, Didi. Yes. Yes,
Okay. Can you
yes.
see my
Yes, Didi.
video too?
No,
Yes,
it's lagging, Didi.
It's lagging. Okay, 1 second. I was on mute. I've been told that this place has better network, so let's hope that it has. Okay, I can see you guys now. Great. So, how all of us know the basic ethics of addition and subtraction, right? Is the same thing with grammar. Once you have, once it gets instilled in your mind and body, that's the only way you'll know how to talk. In fact, it gets so deeply ingrained, the grammatical, correctness of any sentence, that you will be disturbed if somebody is speaking incorrectly. I can't tell you how many times I've been like, oh, that's not what you're supposed to say. That's not how you're supposed to say it. It's wrong. And in places where I should not be correcting people, like talking to the salesperson, how when they call you, and I'm just like, that sentence was incorrect. I don't know what to do with that information, but that sentence was definitely incorrect. So it'll be in you, right? It'll breathe with you. It'll be in your way of talk, in your manner, in the way you talk, in the way you interact with people. But for that to happen, we'll have to practice it and we'll have to understand it. Understanding is primary. Without understanding, we won't be able to get that level of comfort with our language, right? So I was doing a lot of research. There is one book that has always that I have personally loved, like since ninth grade. Okay, I'm still looking for a good PDF of that book, right? The name of the book is Ren and Martin. I'll find one. I'm looking for a reliable PDF. I found one, but it had like blank pages in the middle. So I'm looking for one which does not have blank pages, and I would try and send it to you guys on the groups. That's a grammar book. That's okay. Um, Personally, when I was doing my research, I found Grammarly. Do you guys know Grammarly? I told you guys about this when we were doing that email part. It corrects your grammar. So these people, and so nice to them, they have started this vlog, okay, where what they are doing is they are just explaining the basic meanings of core grammatical concepts, and they are explaining them in pretty easy to understand words, and their knowledge or their text is actually reliable. You'll find a lot of unreliable sources. A very good example is my voice message to you guys, where I myself got confused what is suffix and prefix. Literally, I went online because when I was making the Google form, I was like, oh, did I tell them the right thing? And I was like, oh my God, did I? Then I saw my notes and it was the opposite thing on the internet. And I was like, oh God. But that website was wrong. Okay. So it's really important that we see what website are we acquiring our information from. Okay. I'm going to be sharing screens and we're going to be looking at that. Okay. But before we do that, because now we have almost everybody who had told me that they'll be joining, do you guys know that we from Pehchaan, like we, our own Pehchaan people, have just released a podcast? Okay, do we know what a podcast is? Yes, Durgeshwari and Aisha are really excited. Okay, so a podcast is essentially just people talking with no video. So it's like, how we have all these talks, how we have Kapil Sharma show. Now imagine there is no video. There are people talking, but they're only talking. There is no picture or there's no photo or there's no video to it. Like there's a one photo, but that's it. And it's a very, I personally find it to be superbly fun, because in a podcast, everything, how I can show you my hands and how I can explain things with my hands, I can't do that on a podcast. So everything needs to be translated into the way I speak, the tone I use, and I can't speak too fast because you won't be able to understand because you're not looking at anything, right? And do you know how difficult it is to pay attention when you see nothing? Imagine everybody kept their videos off, even me, and all you were looking at was a blank screen. It'll be so difficult for you to pay attention, wouldn't it? somebody in your home would walk by and you'll be like, what are you doing? You want to talk to them. It is so easy to get distracted. So they have released this podcast, a wonderful one. I will send the link again in our English class wala group. And what I want you guys to do is just go and try to listen to it once. It might be difficult to sit for, personally, I found it really entertaining. I heard it thrice before I complimented all three of the people who contributed to it. It's very, very well made. They've put in a lot of hard work to it. But what I also want to bring in is the concept of podcasts in general. Do you know there are so many people who are just saying things and putting up on Spotify right now? Right? People are just expressing themselves. People became YouTubers all of a sudden. People became Instagram influencers all of a sudden. And I feel so happy for every single one of them. People who are going out there, who are sharing their thoughts. Because every human being's opinion, I feel, is valuable, right? It is in it's you can't really put a value. It's you can't put a value to it. It's really valuable, but I can't put a price tag on somebody's opinion because it's unique, right? Every person has their own way of thinking. So these podcasts are really amazing. You should check out Spotify. I don't want to advertise Spotify, but they have great podcasts. They have poetry. So there are podcasts that people are just reading you poems in English and Hindi. They have book reviews. I mean, I listen to that only. Like I listen to music, but that is also something I really love to listen to. So check that out. It's a huge, huge amount of, information just waiting for you to explore. Okay. And coming back to information that we can explore, we are going to be viewing this grammarly thing that I was talking about, right? So for grammar, something that I find सबसे ज़्यादा crucial and something that I find something that is really, really important for a basic start to understanding English language as it stands, right, is tenses. Okay. Now, we all know the three basics, right? Past, present, and future, right? We know past, present, and future. But is that all we have in tenses? No. We have 12. Yes, Ayush, do you know?
No, can you please louder?
Okay, can I be? Is this better now? Can you hear me
Yes.
better now? Perfect. So we have 12 kinds of tenses. Do you know that? I mean, there are the three basics for sure, but we have 12 types of tenses, right? And these are the types, okay? So you have present tense. And then in present tense, you have four types of present tense. You have simple present, present perfect, present continuous, and present perfect continuous. Now, who was that person who asked me that doubt about lead in the group, in our English group? Who was the person who was like, how do we use lead in a sentence? And then I explained it to that person. Is somebody trying to answer? I can't remember the name of the exact person. Yes, Ayush, who was it?
She's Sejal Dubey.
Yes, Sejal had done that, and it's a very core, it's a very nice, it's a very basic doubt, and it's a very important doubt because that is something that will forever, baffle you. It'll forever, it shock you. It'll be difficult for you to understand that if we don't get this basic understanding right. Okay, so the three tenses that we know: past, present, future, or here it is present, past, future, has four types. Every single one of them has four types within them. Okay. So you have simple present, you have present perfect, you have present continuous, and then you have present perfect continuous. Okay. Similarly, you have all four of those for past, and then you have all four of those for future. And now it that makes it 12 different types of tenses. Yes, you heard me. So there are 12 different types of tenses. And but the good part about this is your entire English language is just these 12 different types of tenses. Okay. Now, you know how I told you there are forms of a verb, right? There are various forms of a verb. Okay. and those forms are they get intermingled. You can understand them together with these tenses. Okay, so we are going to be understanding these tenses over 2 sessions. We are going to be understanding the basics of tenses today, and then we are going to bring in those forms of verbs and understand the forms of verbs by understanding tenses. There are a lot of complicated words. I mean, I sat down and read it for like 2 hours because I forgot everything I learned in school. I learned it in like, but you teach it very you teach it, you don't even teach it that well, right? So there is a detailed list of things that we can study about this, but we're going to be going in a very structured manner because this needs structure. Okay, so I told you 4 types of tenses in every single tense that we know about, right? Now let's look at the basic, how we can, just basically try and understand every single one of these tense. Okay, so these people have been kind enough to give us an example. Okay, so a simple present is I read nearly every day. It's talking about something that is in the present. Okay, so in simple present tense, we will speak of something that is in the present, right? And it'll not be continuing later on, or it has not started in the past. It has happened in the present and it has finished in the present. Okay, I read nearly every day. This person does it every day. It's a present activity for them, and it is happening every day. There is no question about it. Okay, then you have, in contrast to that, you have simple past. A simple past sentence is easily anything that happens in the past. Okay, it's clearly in the past. It's not happening right now, it's not continuing to anything, it's just happening. For example, last night I read an entire novel. So that person just sat last night, read the entire novel. It happened yesterday. Nothing of that is happening today. Finished it and then slept. Okay. So why I'm saying this is when we do continuous and perfect, we'll understand that better. Okay. I will read. Now that'll happen in the future. Okay. So you have simple present, simple past, and simple future. Simple. Okay. Now we'll come to continuous. Little more. Actually, continuous is one of the easiest to understand, but it sounds confusing. Okay. Continuous is something which is continuing to happen. Like, I am conducting a class right now. It's in the present and it is continuing to happen, right? I am still conducting the class, right? I'm not done with the class, right? So, I am reading Shakespeare. That person is doing that. When you are doing that in the present, it becomes present continuous. How will you do it in the past though? I had been continuing to conduct English classes. I would be continuously conducting the English class from 6 to 7. It would end at 7, but if you ask me at 6:15, I was continuing. I would, and then if I am talking about the next coming week, I'll say I would be continuing the English classes. I'm not canceling the English classes. I would be continuing the English classes. Okay. So you see how it's continuous. That event has not finished, it's continuing. Okay, so that what that becomes is present continuous. Let's read their examples as well. I am reading. That person has not finished reading, right? That person had read the entire novel. This person is reading. I am reading Shakespeare at the moment. Okay, they have not finished reading Shakespeare. Now, past continuous. I was reading Edgar Allan Poe last night. Did that person say that they had finished the entire novel? Are they saying that they had read the entire novel? No, no. They were reading. Okay, I was reading Edgar Allan Poe last night. Did they finish it before? Did they finish that particular book by Edgar Allan Poe, that particular story? No, that's not mentioned. It just says that that action was being continued in the past. Ayush is like, oh my god, this is so confusing. Do you feel that way? It'll get easier when we'll do examples of it. It'll get easier. It'll get so easy that you guys will be able to give me amazing examples. Okay. Now, future continuous. I will be reading. I will be reading Nathaniel Hawthorne soon. I'm very happy with these examples because I know all these authors, okay? So I will be reading Nathaniel Hawthorne soon, okay? I also will be reading Nathaniel Hawthorne. Good author. I'll send you guys stories, okay? You should read it. Now, let's do these six for now, okay? We have 12. Let's do these six, okay? We saw two of the subdivisions of our three basic tenses. Now we know for sure what is meant by past, present and future. No doubt about it, right? Past मतलब पहले जो हुआ, present मतलब अभी, future मतलब आगे चल के, right? So that's clear. Now all we need to do is we need to understand the four categories. Once you understand the four categories, then you'll understand all 12 of them, right? Because I know if I know what simple is, then I know what a what a what a simple present tense is, or what a simple past tense is. If I understand what the simple dash tense ka essential basic meaning kya hai, I'll be able to understand it with all three of my tenses. Okay, what happens in a simple present tense? We saw three examples. We saw an example for present, we saw an example for past, and then we saw an example for future, right? Now let's go back, and they have explained it in detail also for simple present. Let's see what is simple present, okay? Okay. Simple present is a verb tense with two main uses. We use simple present tense when an action is happening right now, okay? But it's not continuing to happen. We are just talking about the action in at one instance at the time, okay? That's how you will differentiate it from continuous. I know it's confusing, but bear with me, okay? For example, okay, um i punched I punched the wall, okay? This is a past sentence. I am punching the wall. That's a present continuous sentence. I'm continuing to punch the wall. I'm punching the wall, right? I I would be continuing to continue to punch the wall. That will be a future continuous sentence. Okay, this is a very haphazardous form of explanation. Let's focus on simple present. Okay, it has we use the simple present tense when an action is happening right now, okay, or when it happens regularly. This class happens every Wednesday at the same time, okay? Simple present, okay? It will now when I say it will happen, then it becomes future. But this class happens every Wednesday, that's a simple present sentence. This is a good example. This class happens every Wednesday from 6 to 7. This class will be happening next week also from 6 to 7. That becomes a thing of future, okay? Which is why it's sometimes called present indefinite. Very important, okay? I will send the link to this entire blog so you guys can, read it and go crazy. But present indefinite is a word a lot of people use. So in grammar textbooks, that is why it's difficult to read tenses and understand them, is because you already have one name you have given to simple present, right? Now you give one more name. है ना? So it just makes it more confusing, doesn't it? I know. But that's what they have done. They have given it one more name. So it's also called present indefinite. Okay. So it happens regularly or unceasingly, which is why it's called indefinite. What is the meaning of indefinite? Indefinite मतलब वो पक्का होगा. Unceasingly मतलब it never cease मतलब रुक जाना, ठीक है? Unceasingly मतलब नहीं रुकना, कभी नहीं रुकना, तो वो चलता ही रहेगा. Like the earth is rotating. Now, this action is unceasing. If Earth stops to rotate and revolve, rest assured we can start praying for our lives. Okay, like COVID we can deal with, but not that, right? So that should not happen. It is present indefinite. It has to happen, and it'll happen. It'll never stop happening. Okay, depending on the person, the simple present tense is formed by using the root or by adding s or es to the end. Let's see an example. I feel great. Pauline loves pie. I'm sorry to hear that you are sick. Okay, all these sentences are simple present sentences. I feel great. How am I feeling great? When am I feeling it? Right now. I feel great right now. I'm not saying I will be feeling great. No, no. I said I feel great. Okay. Pauline loves pies. Durgeshwari loves to smile. Okay. She's a happy person. We are very happy for her. Right? So it when you add es, okay, it is either by adding s or es to the end. Okay. So there's some words when you only add s to some words, right? So those words would be like that. Like this ends here. That's also a simple present sentence. It's not ending here, but I'm saying this ends here. That's simple present sentence. Okay. I'm sorry to hear that you're sick. That's also a simple present sentence. You just told me you were sick and I'm sorry to hear it. Okay. Are we able to understand the basics of simple present? Thoda thoda are we able to understand simple present? Thoda thoda are we able to understand simple present? Give me a thumbs up if we are able to understand simple present. Good. Okay. Rekha is able to understand it. So Vajid is getting it. If you're not getting it, let me know so that I can explain it again. Okay. All right. Quite a few of us are getting it now. Vipin, Ayush has not gotten it yet. Okay. Vipin has not gotten it. Bhakti has not gotten it. I don't think Suman has gotten it either. Am I right? Or is my net just. Am I right? Did you guys. Okay. You have sent the thumbs up. All right. Okay. For those of you who did not get it, go to your chat box and click on no, please. Just click on no for me. Do we know how to do that? Okay, I don't think the option's there.
Didi, can I say something?
Yes, please go ahead.
There are some rules of tenses. If we'll know that, I think it will be easier for us to understand which tenses are.
All right.
I have charts of those rules. I'll send you the link.
Okay. I get where you're coming from, Suman. I know the rules. But what I'm trying to do, can you guys still hear me? I'm sorry, the video keeps freezing and I feel like you can't. Can you can
Video is not.
All are from 11th standard or 12th?
No.
11.
You- There's some
11.
All
are
are in
from
11.
11th and some are from 12th.
Okay. Thank you.
all right. Okay, so I understand your point, Suman. The sole reason why I'm not introducing tenses in that formula format, in that because I was introduced to tenses like that, and what we tend to do when we get introduced to tenses like that is we tend to rectify those formulas. Okay, that set of boundaries that they tell that are usually written like that tabular format. What our human brain does is we just mug it up. You mug it up in the sense you just learn it. And I feel like learning it with tenses is first damn very, very lengthy. And it's not the only option. And second, I feel tenses is one of the things that has a lot of, outside the boundary things. So the formula is this, but there is one exception. Acha, okay, Rekha said that. I'm sorry. I am not able to see who's actually saying it because usually that yellow bracket comes, but because of the slow network, that it's just hopping around. Okay, so whoever said that, I understand the reason for giving that suggestion. It's definitely the most conventional way to start teaching tenses. I agree to that. It's just I feel like tenses could be brought across in a more easy to understand manner this way. Okay, so what how we are doing it right now is a way we are going to approach for tenses. Okay, um let's just work with simple present for today. Okay, let's just try to understand what our simple present tense is for today. I will send you a link to that blog. Okay, and we'll try to form one simple present sentence and send it on our WhatsApp group, okay, for today. Just simple present, one sentence, okay? As we read through the entire simple present guidelines per se, we understood that, okay, it's a present sentence, but what is the simple part of it? Why do we have to call it simple, right? Personally, I like to think of it as it's just simply present, you know. There's not much complication or debate about it. Are you understanding? It's indefinite, right? It is happening. There's no debate about whether I am a human being or not. I know I'm a human being. I know I'm not a robot. Okay. So that's how I look at the indefinite part of it, right? It's indefinite. Most of the sentences that we have in simple present as we read are indefinite. वो पक्का होते हैं, right? So that's how I like to look. They're just simply present. There is no debate about their presence. I'll just I'll just simply have to do that. You know, it's simply there. Okay. So that's how I view simple present. I want you guys to read that entire part, just that the part that we went through. And then we'll try and form a couple of sentences. Okay. For simple present. Let's try it for simple present this week. I thought I'll be able to do six of them. Turns out we are doing one by one, and that's going to take a long while. But we have to do these because if we don't do tenses, then we can't do direct speech, and then we can't do what comes after that or what we would like to place above it, right? Now, there are, as I told you, there are a lot of exceptions with tenses. Okay, so you have exceptions. We'll come to them when we come to them. So you'll find a lot of contrasting information on the internet. And as some of us know, we have those charts and everything to go with it, right? But for now, I want you guys to read this particular article, the blog that I'm sending you, because it just states the basic aspect of it. Let's understand the basic aspect of it, and then we'll get into the complications of it. Okay, we'll read simple tense, simple present once again, and then we will form a couple of sentences before we end our session for today. Okay, all right. We're just reading this paragraph. Huh? There is a lot more that comes Nietzsche, but we are just going with this paragraph for now. Okay. The paragraph is the simple present is a verb tense with two main uses. Okay. This particular form of tense exists because of having two main uses. What are the two main uses? We use simple present tense when an action is happening right now. Okay. I'm taking the class right now. That's a simple present sentence. Okay. And or some for something, the second use is for something that happens regularly. Or bracket me, what do we have? Unceasingly, something that never stops to happen, which is why it is sometimes called present indefinite. It is definitely going to be happening. Okay, here indefinite does not mean it may or may not happen. No, it's the exact opposite of it. Okay, so it is something that is definitely going to happen. Okay, now, depending on the person, the simple present tense is formed by using the root form or by adding s or es. What's the root form? Root form is something that we'll be doing with the exceptions. Okay, for now, the root form of any verb is just the verb. Okay, a verb is any word that describes action. Okay, now, this is my third standard teacher speaking here. Doing words are called verbs, okay? Doing words are called verbs. Doing words as in words that describe actions, okay? So, reading, writing, speaking, talking, walking, listening, actions, all of them verbs. Sitting, even though you're doing nothing, is still an action, and that's a verb, okay? Now, these verbs are, I told you now, it's verb tenses. Even the heading of that particular article that we were looking at was not just tenses, it was verb tenses. Okay, because Most of the times when we need to specify whether it was past, present, future, we are doing it because that there was something happening, there was some action. And more often than not, a verb would be there to describe that action, right? So the root here is the word. Now, to love something is also an action, and loving is a verb. So when we are adding s or es, that es is added to the root. What's the root? The root's the verb, that is love, right? Okay. So when we had that example, Pauline loves to do something. I think she loves to eat or read. Can't really remember. She loves pie. So that es is what they're talking about, adding s or es to the end. Okay. So we have two uses for simple present, which is something that is happening right now or something that happens regularly. Okay. It is indefinite. When we are talking about the second usage, it's indefinite. It'll definitely happen. And it is something that has no debate about it. It's simply going to happen. Okay. So, and these three are the sentences that they have used to explain these three conditions that they have essentially talked about. Okay. So that is simple present for us. Okay. We're starting with simple present. Let's try to work with it for this particular week. Okay. The only thing we'll do is we'll form a simple present sentence. Would anybody like to give me their example right now and maybe finish their assignment for the week? While, that's not the only assignment, but yeah, would they want to start with their homework while we are in the session? Let's try making a few simple present sentences. Okay. Two conditions only. Okay. Which is, you have a simple present tense that is happening right now, or a simple present tense that is indefinitely going to happen. Definitely going to happen. Would somebody like to start? Let's go with the most basic things. Okay. Think about it and raise your hand if you have an example. It's okay if you're wrong. Being wrong actually is good here because everybody will know how you can be wrong about it. Okay. Okay. Let's use Nandini's example to understand it. Okay. She sent us, I learn English right now. Now, learn here is the word. Okay. The correct form of the word that verb that should be present in this sentence is learning because she's currently doing it, right? Right. Okay. Rukmini is saying I likes reading. Okay. Rukmini likes to read. Okay. So I like to read will come. Okay. Not es here for this particular verb. It'll be I like to read. Okay. But for the sake of understanding let's try and understand the indefinite part of it, because I feel that has more concrete examples that you can't go wrong with. And then we'll come to the other part of it, okay, when we are talking about something that's happening right now. Because at times when we're describing something that's happening right now, I like to play cricket. Good. That's a great example, Subhajit. That's you've understood it. Yeah, it's correct. It means I like to play cricket. It's a simple present sentence. Okay. That's how you'll work with simple present sometimes, but it's difficult to form a simple present sentence because we are learning how to structure our verbs. Okay. Now, as we move forward, all of us will understand why I learn English right now is incorrect and why I am learning English right now is the correct way to put it, right? But that sentence makes it a present continuous sentence. not a present, simple present sentence. Okay. And I like to read is a simple present sentence, but it isn't going to be likes there. Okay. Now let's look at present indefinite, shall we? The sun rises from the east. Okay. I think it does, right? Yeah, it rises from the east, settles in the west. Yeah, that's an indefinite word. That's because the earth's rotating in that way, Hannah, and that is definitely going to happen, right? It will happen in that particular manner only. Now I'm learning grammar now. Good. That's a good example, Ayush. But you are learning it right now, right? You are continuing to do that, right? When you're continuing to do that, it becomes a continuous sentence. I am doing class right now. Same works for that too. It's a present continuous sentence. You are currently doing it. But look at Durgeshwari's example, not because she loves to see me. The example is also correct. It's I love to see Rakshita Di. She's seeing me right now. It's happened. She's just looking at me. I love to see her. Had she written, I love seeing Rakshita Didi, continuous, then it would have become a present continuous sentence. But this is a simple present sentence. We play a cricket match. Yeah, but here it is not we play, it's we played, right? Because you played the cricket match. Or you would say we are playing a cricket match. Oh, so it so when you're describing things that happened, are you realizing this? When you're describing things that happen, it will almost never be a simple present sentence. A simple present sentence would just talk about something. You wouldn't describe anything. It'll just it won't be like, oh, I'm doing this right now, or I like doing this. I like to read is a simple present sentence. I like reading becomes present continuous. Okay. So ing is the core of continuous sentence. So any time you're using a verb with ing, it should give you a hint that, oh my god, this is not simple present. Okay. For simple present, as we saw, it is S and ES. Durgeshwari likes pie. Rukmani likes her green wall because I can see it. Okay. Suvajit likes football. He loves football, in fact. And he loves kabaddi as well, right? That's what you play, right? Suvajit, you play kabaddi, right? Yeah. So he loves it, right? And he's a sports player. We have a sports champion amongst us. Okay. That's a simple present sentence. He loves kabaddi. He loves football. Okay. Ayush loves to study. And I'm sure he loves sports too, but he loves to study too. Okay. So it's talking about something. Okay. It's not describing something. Sentences can be switched from one to one, but there's going to be a typical way in which a simple present sentence is going to look like. And S and ES are a way of you to for you to identify it. Okay. And the indefinite part is definitely there. Okay. For example, I wear specs. Now, I can't see if I don't wear it. It's not like I can go blind, but I don't see clearly. Okay, so clearly it's indefinite. It's an indefinite fact for me. But the normal facts around the world, like Taj Mahal is one of the seven wonders, simple present sentence. It's a fact and it exists as a simple present sentence. Okay, so when you're talking about facts, so science students usually would work with simple present tense, okay, because they're discussing facts. All right. So are we getting a little bit of a grasp of simple present? See, the best way to be doing the tenses is to do all of them together, which is impossible to do. But every new tense that we understand would make our understanding of English as a whole better. Okay. So now we understand simple present. In the next coming week, we may be able to do 2 to 3 more tenses. Then we'll understand 4 tenses. Okay. Once we've covered the 12 tenses, all of them, that's when you can feel the confusion going. Okay. I'm not gonna promise the confusion will go before that. It'll stay. It's good for the confusion to stay here. Okay. It's good to be confused about tenses. I am. You should be too. Okay? So don't be scared of the confusion. Embrace it. Just hug your confusion. Be like, it's, you can stay here with me for a while before I get done with it. All right? So be confused, but when you have doubts, ask them to me so that I can answer them. Okay? I'm sending you guys the blog, the one that I taught from. Now it has a lot of things in it. Don't read it and get extra confused. Go through the paragraph that we did again. Okay? And if you are feeling adventurous, you can read simple future and simple past as well. That's the maths you can do. Okay? The paragraphs for those two as well. All right? But let's go a little slowly. I'll make the test in such a manner that when you do the test, your understanding of simple present improves. Okay, so we're doing simple present for today. Very small part of a huge thing, but we are starting with this. Okay, tenses is something that a lot of people get scared about, and I don't want that to happen. And I don't want you to ruttify it. Okay, just don't learn it like a don't learn it like a conventional school student. Yeah, present tense is simple tense is and past tense. No, don't learn it like that. Please don't. We're gonna understand it, and that's how we're gonna go about it. Okay. So next week, I'm not gonna expect you to remember every rule, but I'm gonna expect you to understand when I utter a simple present sentence. That's what I want you to do. Okay. So I'm gonna expect you to understand a simple present sentence. That's it. All right. Have a lot of doubts and have the bestest week. Ask your doubts on the group. Okay. Don't forget to send one simple present sentence. And if you get it wrong, send hundreds. One of them might be a simple present sentence. Okay. But we're going to work with simple present this week. Let's be a little active in the group and let's help our friends out as well. Okay. Send simple present sentences. Do not forget. Okay. So we're going to be working really hard on simple present. Okay. So it was a great session. I'm happy. So many of you guys now turn your videos on. Lovely to see you guys. I'm gonna see you next week. I'll send a quiz. So do the quiz. I see so many more than the people who come to the classes do the quiz. I'm very happy because they're learning some part of the class from the quiz as well. Okay. So love you guys. I'll see you next week. Bye bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Didi.
you,
Bye bye,
Thank
Dee.
you.
Didi. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you, Dee.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.